Hello and welcome back to episode number 38 of Life.EV, a podcast that dives into exploring values. As usual, I'm your host, Ajit Panicker, and lead an air conditioning company, Nova, and Pure Blue, a tech startup in the air conditioning domain. Every Saturday at 11 a.m., we join us for conversations that go beyond business growth, focusing on the values that fuel it. Let's embark on a journey that to uncover our true purpose and how we can grow by enriching our lives. As usual, I've got Vivek Asrani with me. Hi, Vivek. How are you doing?
Hey Ajit, lovely to see you. Wow, 38. Incredible.
I guess now we should just stop counting and just go on and on by
Let's go
itself.
with the flow.
Let's go with the flow. Yeah. To our viewers, Vivek Asrani is the driving force behind Chemo Fastener Company, a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. What sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. Now, for close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. His insightful thoughts are accessible on his website, vivekasrani.com. Additionally, Vivek has authored the book One Day at a Time Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought provoking read is available on Amazon and on his website, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional lives. In today's episode of Life.EV, we're delving into the topic, what holds us back? Vivek, let's hear it from you.
Ajit, I think deep down, each one of us uh, wants to succeed. We have goals, we have aspirations which we want fulfilled. At another level, each one of us is looking for happiness in everything we do. And that's why we do whatever we do, right? Either out of duty or for a sense of fulfillment and happiness. And as human beings, we want that everlasting happiness. And we've realized that life is a flow of energy. And there are periods and phases in our life where we have experienced that free flow, even to an extent where we've sometimes surprised ourselves. And there are times when we find that the flow is just not coming through, it's getting blocked. And that's what this reflection was all about. That if we are capable of that free flow of high energy, which gives us that sense of enthusiasm, that fulfillment, that happiness, then what holds us back from being in that zone all the time and giving our best and feeling uh, great all the time? So, in my reflection, Ajit, I've spoken about six things that hold us back. The first is that there are many things in life which we start enjoying, we get good at, and then there comes a point where we hold on to it and we don't want to let go of that to move on to the next. So, very often, our own success comes in our way, and attachments hold us back. Second is that any broken relationship, any stressful situation, any unpleasantness that we have experienced with people who either are very close to us or at one point of time in our lives were very close to us is not easy to get over. The incident passes, but the memory of the incident and the emotions attached with that incident, they linger on. We keep saying learn to let go. It's easy to say that, but it is not so easy to let go. So emotional baggage holds us back. The third is we all make plans and we find that we have the initial enthusiasm to get off to a great start, but we don't always find that our results are as per our plan. Now, part of it is also because circumstances may not be favorable and things go out of our control. But there is another aspect to it, which is that we plan well, we start with enthusiasm, but somewhere down the line, we lose the focus, the commitment, and the consistency to stick to the plan to see till the end. Because midway is when, it's like it goes a little uphill before we have the breakthrough, and then we kind of lose steam. So, lack of focus and consistency holds us back. The fourth thing I've spoken about is comfort zone. We reach a situation or a position in life where we feel, okay, now I'm in a great place, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, with my family, with my profession, with my friends. And it's almost, in a way, kind of picture perfect because that's what we've always wanted. And somewhere we want to hold on to this. And we don't want to risk losing this. But then what happens is, Ajit, we stop doing things which we need to because this is not going to remain forever. So our own comfort zone holds us back. The fifth thing I've spoken about is, you know, in as much as we say that our security has to be steeped in our own integrity and we need to feel complete and secure within, it is but natural that a lot of people around us might be doing much better than us in terms of their professional life, or at least that part of their life which we can see. Now, we only get to see the success and we only get to hear about, what they've done or what they've achieved. But we don't know the backstory. We don't know what are the other factors that have led to it. And there are so many other influences that come into somebody's life because of which a person achieves or doesn't achieve something. So comparing ourselves to others holds us back because it takes away from our own self confidence sometimes, and you start feeling small because, like, what have I achieved? I've only achieved so much, and look at what somebody else has achieved. So that holds us back. That was the fifth thing. And the sixth thing that I've spoken about is, over a period of time we get steeped in our own thinking, and you know we not only are comfortable but are convinced that that way of looking at things is the right way, as a result of which, as the world around us changes, we are not willing to make that change. So being fixed and steeped in our traditional way of thinking, I'm not saying tradition is wrong or bad, our fixation to a particular way of looking at life and doing things and not willing to change holds us back. So attachments hold us back, emotional baggage holds us back, lack of focus and consistency holds us back, comfort zone holds us back, comparing ourselves to others holds us back, and being steeped in our fixed way of thinking holds us back.
That's true. So I just want to actually discuss with you on a business perspective.
Mm.
When it comes to running a business, we all have a. I think it's a very entrepreneurial thing to do. If something's going right, why mess around with it? Just leave it the way. And you often do it also. If it's going right, then why not? I sometimes feel that's also holding yourself back because when everything is just going, the routine, the habit prevents you from growth and exploration. And in today's times, the unknown is daunting and change can be unsettling, which is why you want to hold yourself back to into disturbing anything. Don't you think at times, we should actually, you know, take those steps even when everything is going just right? And don't you see that also sometimes that this comfort, like how you spoke about, is also a comfort zone that holds us back?
I think that's a great question, Ajit. And one of the most difficult aspects of any entrepreneur and leadership job, because when things are going right, there is no reason to disturb it. However, things are going right for us now and today, but it doesn't mean that this situation, that the world is going to remain as it is forever. Our ability to look into the future and make a call based on what we think the future may look like, and therefore disrupt ourselves, is one of the most difficult things. And that's the question you're asking, right? Let's take two or three examples that straight away come to mind. Kodak probably had, I don't know, 60, 70, 80% of the film roll and camera market, or at least the films, right? The traditional films that we all took photographs. And they didn't really move to digital fast enough. And suddenly, what was kind of a monopoly in the world kind of disappeared. IBM were the first with mainframes in the world, one of the biggest. And when this young kid working out of his garage uh, came on the scene, they kind of brushed him away and said, like, yeah, do what you want. We don't really care. And Microsoft kind of ate IBM's lunch. Now, at that point of time, IBM was doing really well. Now, somebody over there needed to have taken a call to say, listen, we need to disrupt this and move away from mainframes to desktops. Now, it's all very easy to say in hindsight, but it's really that which distinguishes one company from the other. And therefore, I think, Ajit, the willingness and ability of leadership to keep abreast with what's going on in the world, to smell the trends of the world. I'm using the word smell because you don't have certainty that that's the way it's going to be. But if you have a gut feel and a sense that, look, this is the direction in which things are moving, and 5 years from now, the business landscape in my industry is going to look very different. If I wake up 5 years from now and start then, it's going to be too late. Having said that, if you get the direction wrong, you could have invested a lot behind something which just doesn't materialize. And I think the company's name was Iridium, was it? They made the satellite phones.
Yeah.
Uh, they, I think, 100 satellites in the up there or whatever. I don't remember the exact numbers. They had the direction right that yes, there is going to be a mobile talking device which is going to be necessary in the world, but they did it in a manner which wasn't sustainable because nobody wanted to use those very big instruments, frightfully expensive and all of that. And it's the same with EVs as we speak today. You know, Sitting here today in 2024, if we were to listen to this podcast in 2034 or 44, if you're still around, what's the bet the car companies are making? Should they stick with gas? Should they all move to EV? Is it still going to be hybrid? It's anybody's call, right? So,
Uh,
yeah, but on that, Ajit, I'll just say one thing: fear of failure holds us back, and that is the one thing we warn ourselves against. That as a business leader, when I'm making a decision, am I being governed by an intuitive sense of, yeah, this is feeling right, and I'm doing it? Or am I being reckless because somebody else made a bold decision and really did well and say, look, that's the way to be, just think out of the box, make some bold decisions? Then I'm being reckless. Or am I not doing something because I'm like, no, the time is not right? Or am I acting out of fear? The business leader and the entrepreneur's ability to first recognize the emotion behind the thinking, to my mind, is very critical. We look at each other's decisions, but I think it's the thinking behind and the emotion behind the decision. And I'll go one step further, Ajit. What is driving that emotion, the root of that? If something is holding us back, we need to release that from within.
I'm talking again from something which you just said about, what holds us back. As entrepreneurs, when you, over a period of time, you build a kind of an image about yourself. And most of the time, this image is in your head. And have you ever felt that, sometimes it is this image that often stops you from being authentic or trying out new things? Doesn't that also hold you back most of the times?
So I'm going to differentiate between authenticity and innovation. So as far as authenticity goes, I think that is a value system. No matter in what area of decision making, as long as you're true to yourself and your principles, you can be authentic, right? But when it comes to creativity, innovation, and making certain decisions, yes, the funny thing, Ajit, is that the more you succeed and the higher you go, the more difficult it gets to sometimes make those same bold decisions as you did when you were younger or smaller in size. I'll give you a simple example. If I ask you to walk on a plank which is 2 feet above the ground, you'll very easily walk. But if I put that same plank with the same width, okay, between two buildings at a height of 50 stories, you will not walk with the same ease. The same person, the same plank, but suddenly you are so aware of the height and like, oh my God, if I fall from here, the impact is going to be crazy. When you were 2 feet above the ground, you didn't care, right? So you would even run across that plank. And that's what
Amazing.
happens to us in the early years. We just do things fearlessly because we have nothing to lose. The moment we become self-conscious, not so much about our own image and ego and personality, but just of the business, like, okay, now I can't afford to, lose this. It's funny you say this because just 2 days back, I was having this conversation with an entrepreneur who's done exceedingly well for himself in the MSME sector. And he said exactly the same thing to me. He said, Vivek, now I'm beginning to go into a bit of a shell because I've done so well. I'm scared that I don't want to lose all this. And now my whole focus is not how do I grow the business, but how do I just retain what I have, grown and what I have achieved. And I think that's what holds us back, right? We have to be very careful that we don't ever lose that entrepreneurial spirit. It doesn't mean that we are not careful and conscious of how to preserve things. So we have to, and one of my favorite analogies is the trilogy of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The power of creativity in innovating in our businesses. That's one aspect. The second we have to bring is the ability to preserve what we have created so that we build in a sustainable manner. And the third is we have to destroy all the wastages, all the leakages, and all the inefficiencies in our businesses. So, in the first phase of our business, we are like Brahma, we are constantly innovating, creating. In the second phase, we suddenly become like Vishnu, where we want to just preserve and hold on, right? No, it's all three simultaneously. We have to constantly innovate, we have to be sustainable, and we have to make sure that we're doing this in as efficient a manner as we can. And the last thing I'll say to this, Ajit, is that the two things as an entrepreneur, and you spoke about our authenticity and our image, and you're absolutely right on that. I think the two things that come in our way are I can't do this, and the second is, oh, I already know it. I don't need to learn any more on this. I know everything on this subject and I cannot do this. These are the two things that, if we can drop from our lives as entrepreneurs, I think we will unleash a potential that even we are unaware of.
Amazing. It also brings to me one more question, and thinking of certain entrepreneurs, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we just want to be perfect, and we just like to be just perfect and get it right. And sometimes, this not taking action, it says that, just trying to be perfect and not taking action kind of leads to paralysis. That also is kind of holding us back, right? I mean, sometimes you just have to get going and then it'll just get perfect on its way.
Yeah,
Isn't that also a challenge what entrepreneurs face?
no, absolutely. And this what this whole thing about perfection, and the example that comes to my mind as we speak is that of a forest. A forest is one of the most vibrant, energetic, powerful ecosystems in the world, right? But imagine if every plant and tree were to say, no, no, I can't grow like this. I have to grow exactly straight. And no, 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 this branch shouldn't go out. It should. I mean, come on. In fact, some of the breakthroughs in our businesses have come through imperfections because it's the
Absolutely.
crack that lets the light in. It's the imperfection that led us to the discovery of what is fundamentally wrong and what can actually be great. That's one. Second is when you emphasize too much on perfection, you're stressing the system and you're stressing the very people. And then the emotion that flows in an organization is one of fear, because you're scared that if I don't get it right exactly the way the boss wants it or the way the owner wants it, then he or she will be unhappy. And that's not a happy environment to work. In fact, scientists come up with the best discoveries on the back of failures,
Yeah.
right? Because with every failure, they learn not this, not this, not this, and therefore this. And that's, I think, what life and our businesses are all about.
Yeah. So, on that note, if you want to know which is one of the most successful failures that you've learned and you've done, is the Chandrayaan. It is a brilliant story, and it is actually from the failures that they got to the moon when no one has been there before. If you ever want to read about it, you must read it. It is very, very inspiring that how they learned from their failures. Well, that's a great. Uh, that's all the time that we have for this episode. I thought this was actually really thought-provoking discussion. With some really deep insights. While we love to hear from you too, dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your questions, your learnings, and the insights you gained from this episode. It's through these shared experiences and perspectives that we all grow and learn. Well, that's it for today. Join us next week on Saturday at 11 a.m. for another enriching episode of Life.EV, where we continue our exploration into the fascinating world of exploring values in our life. Vivek, thank you very much, and see you next Saturday at 11 a.m.
Thanks, Ajit. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye. See you.